What's up, y'all? On today's video, we're talking all about charter schools. First, we'll dive in on how they differ from traditional public and private schools and how those nuances might help you in your home search. And then we'll go into why you may or may not want to choose a charter school. How's it going, friends? My name is Bradford Schulz, and I work with the hardest working real estate team in the game. We are called To the Twin Cities, and this channel aims to be the single best resource on the internet when it comes to Twin Cities schools. If that's important to you, subscribe to the channel, click the little bell to get notified every time we post videos. And if you want our help buying a home here in the Twin Cities, feel free to reach out to me directly at bradford@tothetwincities.com. I'd love to help. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with some basic facts. In 1991, Minnesota passed the first charter school law in the nation and opened the first charter school in 1992. That first charter that was issued in 1991 was for the Bluff View Montessori School in Winona, while the first charter school to open its doors was City Academy in St. Paul. Charter schools were originally called outcome-based schools. Like many other states, charter schools in Minnesota are publicly funded and operate independently from traditional public school districts. Charter schools are operated and governed by licensed teachers, community members, and parents. In the 2022-2023 school year, there are 180 charter schools operating in Minnesota. These schools enrolled about 68,000 students, which is approximately 7% of public school students in Minnesota. Okay, so here's 4 ways that charter schools differ from traditional public and private schools. Charter schools are publicly funded but operate independently from the local school district, whereas traditional public schools are operated and funded by local school districts and overseen by elected boards. And private schools are not funded by the government and are generally funded through tuition, donations, and in some cases, endowments. Charter schools receive funding on a per pupil basis, which means that they get a set amount of money for each student that they enroll. Whereas traditional public schools are funded through local property taxes, state funding, and federal grants. Charter schools are held accountable by an authorizing organization, typically a local school district or a state level entity, which grants them the charter to operate and holds them accountable to a specific set of standards. Whereas traditional public schools must follow state and federal regulations and laws. And private schools have much more autonomy in curriculum development and school policies. So coming in at number 2 is admission and enrollment. Charter schools are open to all students, and admission is typically determined by a lottery once all of the application spots have been filled. Whereas traditional public schools are also open to all students, but it's based on their residential address. And private schools have the discretion to select their students, and the admission criteria can vary greatly. And last to note here for private schools is that some private schools will have religious and or academic restrictions and requirements for enrollment. So coming in at number 3 is curriculum and teaching method. Charter schools have more flexibility in designing their educational systems and curriculum. They often focus on specific educational approaches to meet the needs of a particular student population or to address specific educational needs. Whereas traditional public schools, they must adhere to state standards and curriculum, which can limit their flexibility in allowing them to create and design different teaching methods. And private schools, they have the most autonomy in curriculum development, allowing them a unique educational experience. So coming in at number 4, accountability. Charter schools are held accountable for their performance through the terms that were outlined in their charter agreement. And if they fail to meet those goals or perform them poorly, they can have their charters revoked and shut down. On the other hand, traditional public schools are subject to oversight by local and elected school boards and state education agencies. And they can face consequences for poor performance in leadership changes and different types of interventions from the state. And private schools have less government oversight, and so they may not face the same type of accountability as public schools. Choosing a charter school over a traditional public school or a private school can be a decision based on several factors. And the choice ultimately depends on individual preferences and circumstances. When considering a charter school, it is crucial for parents and students to research and visit the school. You'll want to review its academic performance and assess whether it aligns with your educational objectives. Ultimately, the decision should be based on what suits the needs of the student and their family. So here are some reasons why parents and students may opt to choose a charter school. Coming in at number 1, specialized educational approaches. Charter schools often offer specialized educational programs or teaching methods that cater to specific interests or learning styles. For example, there are charter schools that focus on STEM, the arts, Montessori education, project-based learning, or language immersion, for example. If a student has a particular passion or benefits from a specific approach, a charter school with that focus can be appealing. Coming in at number 2, smaller class sizes. Some charter schools have smaller class sizes than traditional public schools, which can lead to a more personalized approach and potentially a better learning environment for some students. Coming in at number 3, innovative curriculum. Charter schools have the flexibility to develop their own curriculum, which can lead to more innovative and creative approaches to education. And this can be attractive to parents who want a more hands-on or non-traditional educational experience for their children. So coming in at number 4, local control. Charter schools often have more local control and decision-making authority, which can lead to greater responsiveness to the needs of the community and the parents and the students. All right, coming in at number 5, school choice. Charter schools provide an additional option for parents who want alternatives to their assigned traditional public schools. And they may choose a charter school based on their specific mission or educational philosophies. So coming in at number 6, diverse educational models. So I know that we've said it before in sort of other ways, but charter schools can vary widely in terms of their educational models, which allows parents and students to find a school that aligns with their educational values and goals. So coming in at number 7, community engagement. Charter schools often encourage strong parental involvement and community engagement. And parents, they might appreciate that opportunity to be actively involved in their child's education. Coming in at number 8, flexibility. Some charter schools offer flexible schedules or extended hours, which can be beneficial for families with unique scheduling needs. And lastly, number 9, location. The location of a charter school may be more convenient for some families, making it a practical choice based on proximity to home or work. So it's important to note that while charter schools offer all these potential benefits, they also do have their own challenges and limitations. Charter schools can sometimes vary widely in terms of quality, and not all charter schools succeed in achieving their educational goals. And some charter schools may have limited extracurricular offerings or resources compared to larger traditional public school districts. But let's save the pros and cons for another video that'll be coming out soon. So if you want our help buying a home here in the Twin Cities and navigating the school systems, feel free to reach out to me directly at Bradford@tothetwincities.com. I'd love to help. All right, we'll see you next time.